Hey FAC family, this is T. Wright coming to you from my office. We'll be continuing on the theme of hope in these daily connects, and I wanted to share with you a brief message on hope. But before I get into that, I did want to mention a couple things. If you haven't viewed Paul's message from yesterday that's on Facebook, please go ahead and do that. This weekend we'll actually be observing communion, and as Paul mentioned, and your own bread and your own juice will do. But if you'd like, you can actually pick up communion elements like this one in front of FAC. They're out there on the bench, and I'll be leading us through that time in our online service this weekend. So make sure that you are ready to observe communion in a way, quite frankly, that probably pretty closely mirrors the experience of the early church that is doing it in our homes, although they certainly were permitted to gather in groups of larger than 10, but our circumstances don't necessarily permit that at the time. But they definitely gathered in homes to break bread and share communion together. Second, if you haven't read Zach's email from yesterday, please do it. He very clearly outlines our expressions of out during this time, and also has attached some really nice invitations you can print off and hand out to your neighbors, and inviting them to participate in our online service this week and in the weeks to come. So please read that if you haven't already. Now, just for the Daily Connect message, Paul reminds us in 1 Corinthians 13:13 that there are three virtues essential to the Christian life, three things that we should abide in, and those are faith, hope, and love. He writes this, a verse that we're all pretty familiar with, at least those of us who've ever been to a wedding before. He writes, "But now, faith, hope, love, abide, remain, rest in these three. But the greatest or greater of these is love." Love seems to kind of come fairly easy in a time of crisis. We have concern for our loved ones. We empathize and want to care for those around us. We feel a heightened sense of love and compassion for our friends and our neighbors, our family and our church family. What can seem difficult, though, in this type of season is abiding in and remaining in a state of the other two essential virtues, faith and hope. These don't seem to come as natural, especially when we become increasingly obsessed with what's going on around us, as I find even myself fixated on those types of things. But listen to what C.S. Lewis has to say about hope and how it should play a prominent role in how we live out our Christian faith. He writes this in Mere Christianity. "Hope is one of the theological virtues. This means that a continual looking forward to the eternal world is not, as some modern people think, a form of escapism or wishful thinking, but one of the things a Christian is meant to do. It does not mean that we are to leave the present world as it is. If you read history, you'll find that the Christians who did most for the present world were just those who thought most of the next." Essentially, what Lewis is saying is that those of us who live a hope-filled life, those who are continually focused on the eternal, will actually accomplish more, not only for the kingdom, but for the world we live in. If we obsess over setting our minds on the things above, as Paul writes in Colossians, that will drive us to accomplish much in the world we live in, because we know the value of that eternal reality, and we will be constantly concerned with bringing bits of that reality to those around us and inviting others into the absolute blessing of having that hope for themselves. So abide in hope, put on hope. Think about the things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God, and the fact that your life is now hidden with Christ in God. And let that hope motivate you to do great things for those around you during this truly difficult season. Share your hope with those around you in a responsible manner. People who know that you are a Christian will be looking to you for hope. Let them see it in your deeds and hear it in your words. Let it play a prominent role in how you live out your Christian life in the coming weeks. We love you. We miss you here at FAC. We'll be coming to you again for weekend services this weekend, and we can't wait to come together during that time with you guys. I hope you guys have a blessed week. We're here for you. And again, we love you and miss you. Thanks.